Very warm welcome to the European Outlook for Friday, the 22nd of December. Storm Pia is now moving across the southern Baltic Sea as a still deep feature and has brought havoc to parts of the British Isles, Denmark in particular, northern Germany, southern portions of Sweden, into northern portions of Poland as well. You can see here that we have still very strong winds associated with Storm Pia, seen as of this morning on Meteoseal. Very strong winds now, still blowing hard across across Denmark. Still gusty winds associated with northwesterly winds across the British Isles and even across Ireland as a new frontal system makes an approach. But you can see northern Germany, northern Poland, southern portions of Sweden, some very strong winds indeed here. Let's have a look and see the close-up view of the strong winds associated with Storm Pia. So you can have a look and see what we're talking about here. So right across southern Norway, Sweden, Finland, through Denmark, we've still got very gusty winds indeed. Now, interestingly enough, Storm Pia was associated with a very powerful northwesterly jet streak, winds in excess of 238 miles an hour racing out of southern Greenland, Iceland, down towards the Low Countries. It was the left exit region of the jet where we've seen Storm Pia rapidly deepen as it moved across southern Norway and then across southern Sweden. It was on the southern flank that Denmark found itself in, and was seen wind gusts in excess of 98 miles per hour, which is the strongest winds associated with a storm system in Denmark in some 8 years. This is a tweet here by Sebastian Pelt, based in Denmark, and this tweet indicates that we have got some very impressive wind gusts in excess of 44 meters per second. This is the highest wind gust for Denmark since Storm Gorm back in 2015. Two stations also, another two stations also seen the strongest wind gusts since Gorm. Three stations with the highest gust since Otto, and 11 stations with hurricane force gusts. This is the highest since Erd. Now, as we also look at the surface pressure, we had a surface pressure of 960 millibars over Denmark. Now, what is significant about this is the deepest in 17 years for Denmark in terms of essential pressure. That is pretty significant stuff when you think about it. We also seen a site have it was also Denmark's lowest pressure for the month of December since 1999, and I believe it was the 16th lowest pressure recorded anywhere in Denmark since 1874. This all comes when Denmark has officially recorded in 2023 its wettest year since records began back in 1874. So as of the 20th of December, during the morning time, 906.6 millimeters has fallen since the 1st of January, and there is more rain on the way. This is a tweet here originally by Sebastian, but they retweeted and reshared by extreme temperatures around the world. So very, very interesting stuff coming out of Denmark associated with Storm Pia here. Speaking of Storm Pia, this is a fascinating capture here by Sarah Lister. I believe this is in the Peak District area, and you can see the low-level clouds associated with Storm Pia racing through the sky, but actually above that is polar stratospheric clouds, which, as alluded to in yesterday's video, they tend to form within the very, very cold minus 84, minus 85 environment between 49 and 80 plus thousand feet above the surface here. But I thought this would be a fascinating clip to share with you with regards to these clouds racing across the lower atmosphere while we've got way up, like, you know, like several miles ahead, like above this, we've got the polar stratospheric clouds, which have been so prevalent in recent days. Continuing on with the polar stratospheric theme, this is an interesting tweet here by Mika Rantanen, based in Finland. He tweets to say that the formation of nacreous clouds requires a temperature close to minus 85 Celsius. Such temperatures have been observed today. This was yesterday at 30 HPA in altitude by radio sonde Ascent in Lerwick, Scotland. So there was a balloon released into the atmosphere, and it recorded a minus 85 Celsius at 30 HPA, which shows that we've got a near core of the polar vortex centered over the far north of Scotland and primarily over the Northern Isles. So let's have a look and see what's going on as we go through the next several days here. Let's have a look at the ECMWF interpretation of what is expected to take place. So we've still got that 1044 millibar area of high pressure out over the Atlantic. We've got the remnants of Storm Pia. Now, the ECMWF sees it as a 957 millibar low. I do believe that the pressure got down as low as 958 millibars. Now, what is happening is we've got this continuation of a squeeze in the pressure field, strong northwesterly winds, colder conditions getting drawn south. So we may see some blizzard conditions becoming a little bit more prevalent in elevations above 400 or 500 meters above sea level. We've also got some heavy snowfall on the northern flank of Pia. Very gusty winds continuing to transfer eastwards. Squally conditions, messy conditions across the central portion of Europe, as you can see here. And excuse me, if you look at the wind gust chart here of the ECMWF, you can see that we've got those very powerful winds continuing to transfer east along the southern flank of the low itself, and we may see some blizzard conditions then moving across parts of high elevation Germany, through Poland, down into the Czech Republic, into Slovakia, higher elevations where there is colder air getting wrapped around this system. We could see some very tricky travel conditions indeed, and there is a lot of people now out and about getting last minute bits and pieces for Christmas, perhaps doing Christmas shopping, also finishing early for work. Bearing in mind that tomorrow is probably the last main business day before Christmas itself. Looking back at the overview chart here, you can see that that system continues to move across the northern half of Europe. Now then, we've got another system riding the boundary between the low and the high, bringing a spell of heavy rain. Now, colder, kind of entrenched over the far northern half of the UK, with this increase in precipitation means that we are going to see heavy mountain snowfall. Now, that mountain snowfall may start to sink down to lower levels as colder air is entrenched in this north corner of the British Isles. As we continue to play through this, we may see some significant snow mountain. Now, notice here that we've got quite a demarcation zone, especially during the course of Saturday, when temperatures may be struggling to get 3-4 Celsius above freezing. We could have central belt temperatures, so Glasgow to Edinburgh, of 11, 12, even 13 Celsius. So a very, very marked contrast between near blizzard conditions in the mountains across Grampian, North Highlands, while we've got heavy rainfall through Lochaber, Argyll, and even down to the northern portions of the central belt here. So a very, very interesting situation developing. If you look at the 850 temperatures off the same chart for the same time, you can see here the cold air in that far northeast corner. Now, as we play through this 850 temperature profile, the milder air then starts to move in, because we are seeing an introduction with a new area of low pressure making an approach. This is the warmer air pre-Christmas moving into the UK here, but the tricky situation comes as we go towards the Christmas Eve into Christmas Day time period. Now, there is some discrepancies between each individual model, but certainly the latest run of the ECMWF indicates that that area of low pressure moves east through Shetland towards Scandinavia and then allows colder air to move in on the northern flank. So let's look back at the overview chart now, and you can see if we skip back a couple of frames, a new frontal system associated with a 964 millibar area of low pressure moving into Scandinavia. Then we've got this colder air coming in across the northern half of the British Isles as we move into Christmas morning itself. But the complication factor is we've got 994 millibar low that is making an approach in the British Isles. That is going to in turn allow warmer air to sweep across Ireland, Northern Ireland, the bulk of England and Wales, even southern Scotland. But then you've got cold air across the far north. That will bring wintry precipitation, not necessarily just the high ground, but maybe even over low levels as well. Then we've got more weather coming in off the Atlantic. So you can see the overall complicating factor. Low pressure is the dominant player, but we are flirting between cold and warm air all the time, and it's going to make for a very tricky call with regards to snow in the period between Christmas Eve and Boxing Day. Finally, let's have a look at the ECMWF snowfall chart. As we skip through the next few days, you can see the snow associated with Storm Pia moving a slice through Germany. Northern portions of Poland, we may get some sea effect snow off the Baltic Sea. We've got heavy precipitation through the Alps, parts of the Carpathian Mountains in southern Poland, into the northeast of Slovakia, northeastern portions of Czech Republic as well. Notice here with that northwesterly flow and a system moving in from the west, we've got heavy mountain snowfall, possibly even a wintry mix down the low levels across the northern UK. Now, as we continue to play through the course of the weekend, that snow starts to pile up, seen by the ECMWF across the northern half of Scotland here. So north of the Central Belt, high elevations are expected to see potential blizzard conditions, by the way, especially with gusty winds. Now, watch this. As we move into the early hours of Christmas Eve, while we've got a pretty decent snow cover between East Germany eastwards, you're then shrinking as that warmer air moves in off the Atlantic. We're shrinking the snow cover across even northern portions of the UK. But then it comes right back. During the course of Christmas night, we've got the potential for some fairly heavy snowfall. And look at this here. Some fairly significant amounts of snow expected across anywhere from the northern half of the Central Belt northwards. We are seeing this fluctuation, this flexing back and forward between snow cover and non-snow cover based on warmer moving in to replace colder air. But notice here that the ECMWF has some significant snow down the spine of the Pennines, northern portions of Wales, even parts of the Republic of Ireland as we move into the middle and second half of next week. And then as we move towards the final days of the month, isn't that rather interesting? A significant amount of snow seen by the ECMWF. It has to be said, of course, that this is one individual model run and it is a long way out. Look at the lack of snow cover now across the heart of Europe as warm Atlantic air progresses eastwards across the continent. So, very interesting times we're in at the moment. Be sure to check out yesterday's video looking specifically at the stratospheric polar vortex. Lots going on there. The Mann-Julian oscillation is something to be taken into real consideration as well. So stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you again hopefully tomorrow with more. Bye for now.